Hi, this is Kyra Cards for Engearment.com out at the PrimaLoft House for 2025, and a few rab pieces I want to talk to you about. Now, I've been wearing them, I've been loving them, but I can't really speak to you about the technical stuff. So I have Colin here to tell us a bit more about the wonderful PrimaLoft pieces that Rab has given us for this trip.
Hey, I'm Colin Suszynski. I work with PrimaLoft on the PR side, and yeah, we supplied some really fantastic rab pieces for this trip that we're pretty excited about. Two that are kind of on the opposite side of the spectrum in terms of their use case. We have the Evolute here that Cai is wearing. It's kind of an active insulation layer that's supposed to be worn right over your base layer while you're doing high output, high exertion activity. In theory, this texture can be worn next to skin.
And I have, it's wonderful. It's a great layer all around.
And its whole job is wicking moisture, away from you as you're sweating, but also keeping you warm as you come to a stop and not immediately, evaporating that heat right off your body. And then here on the outside, we have the Rab Cirrus Ultra on both of us. This is filled with thermoplume, PrimaLoft thermoplume, which is a aesthetically much more similar insulation to down. It can be blown through traditional down blowers and, retains that aesthetic and is, in the case with Rab, it's built as a more stationary layer or, pack it under a shell when you're skiing downhill or belaying someone in the ice climbing crags. I'm no climber, but yeah, it's definitely more of a stationary layer to keep you warm when it's really, really cold.
That being said, it is still light. It does still pack down. It wouldn't be the first choice I'd go for an extra layer in my pack out here in the backcountry. But if I knew it was going to be a cold day, I might just go out wearing it. It does still manage temperature well, despite being an insulative piece. It's absolutely fantastic. I want to talk a bit more about this mid base layer, though.
Mm-hmm.
Putting it on at the top of the hill the other day when I was just in normal base layers, immediately everything was warmer. Like it was an instant shift, which was ridiculous. But also wearing it yesterday as a base layer, I sweat a lot when I have a pack on my back and I'm moving uphill. It wicked almost all the moisture, kept me regulated. There were times where I'd put on a wind layer over it, but usually I didn't need it. How does it manage all that? How does it keep? Obviously, the PrimaLoft insulation is amazing, but there's a bit more to it as well. How do you incorporate Rab's tech and PrimaLoft together?
Yeah, so the theory with that insulation is somewhat based in biomimicry, where animals don't have to shed and put layers back on as they get cold and hot. They've got an oily, top coat of fur that keeps moisture from the outside away. But then their undercoat has, a lot of holes and air pockets that can trap heat next to the skin, but also wick moisture away from the animal as it sweats. So in theory, this layer works the same. It's got these tufts. If you can see in the video, it's got this kind of square grid pattern that we've started to see so frequently in micro fleeces, but that combined with the PrimaLoft insulation, or that pattern combined with the PrimaLoft insulation, really creates similar air pockets that would be next to the skin on an animal. And then, PrimaLoft is naturally hydrophobic, so moisture shouldn't be getting sucked through the jacket from the outside, but should generally be moving away from the body as you sweat, which is how that works.
It really works. It's quite impressive. And then this puffy, obviously we've talked about it being a bit more of a stationary piece. What would you, if you could use it in the most ideal situation, where would you be bringing this thing?
I think there's really a broad range of applications for it. It depends on how hot you run, but if you're resort skiing and it's -20 and you're on the East Coast, I think it would be reasonable to pack this under a resort shell. I think Rab, being kind of an ice climbing company, has ice climbing in mind for it when you're standing stationary at the bottom of your ice fall, waiting for either your partner to finish up their climb or you're about to start your own, you want to stay warm before you actually start ascending the ice. And then, along with that, like you're walking your dog, it's really cold. Any of these activities where you're not necessarily doing high output, but it's pretty frigid.
And you want to, and somewhere like this, we're here at the Red Mountain Alpine Lodge, and it has been frigid, doing a bit of walking around, and it's the perfect layer to just toss on if you need to go check something outside. There's been some mountain dogs with us, so if they need a quick out, toss on a layer like this, go wander around, and you will stay toasty. It's ridiculous.
For sure.
Oh, well, wonderful. Thank you so much, Colin.
Yeah. Thank you, Cai.